Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM22. It's Dragons episode 37, and we're about to wrap up our season. We're on to Lombardia, final monument of the year. Now, of course, that means the best riders in the world are out to this one. In fact, a start list that I'm not sure I've seen in a long time, or enough years into the database that I suppose it makes sense. But the top 10 favorites, they're all 82 or better mountain. More than half of them have an 83 mountain. It's it's a pretty dang deep field. So getting into the top 10 is going to be quite the achievement, but it's certainly possible. But then the fact that we have a minus 14 net race day condition as a team is incredibly discouraging and really hurts those chances. But we do have two riders in the green. We do have one rider on a neutral zero. They have support for now, but with those minus fives, minus fours, that support will not stick around much longer as we are finishing up the task of getting water one final time. Islamov has had nothing to do all day, sit by himself, but with a minus three, he is nearly out of energy, and he's our fourth best rider on the day. So, that being said, the breakaway of four has nearly been caught. Four riders have recently attacked off the front and have caught them and will soon overtake them. They have a less than 1 minute advantage as we begin the Madonna, the big climb of, well, it's a double climb, but the big climb here of Lombardia. The final two climbs, if we're still in it, that's generally, a good place to be. But we are so far behind on the ratings of the favorites, especially when you add in those plus fours that they all have. It's going to be a difficult ask, but we'll see what we can do here. Let's start gelling up on these riders offering protection for us. At least the two main guys for the day, Alpasov, Terraskin, for now anyway, are hanging in there. It looks like they will be okay. But again, this is a double climb, not a single climb. And we're only just reaching the top of the first portion, and the recovery period is next to nothing. It's enough to let the heart rate drop for a moment and reset, but it's not going to see much recovery at all of riders, and we're going to see a number of guys going back here real quick. Okay, here comes the descent portion, and yeah, no one's coming down. Alpasov is just going to get into that range. So is Yamamoto. Gunai is going to get like an ounce recovery in, but at least Alpasov, I mean, that's good. Terraskin's not coming down very fast at all. I'm guessing that's because he is alone, and it is. So Brandon No is protecting, but he's not. I mean, our guys our domestiques are gone, and as a result, I mean, there's still 136 in the peloton. Not very many riders got dropped, but my domestiques are so bad today. Switch it, even though you're way back here, switch it to protecting Terraskin, please. Yamamoto, go ahead and get on his wheel. We've got two leaders, and that's going to be what it has to be. Though Yamamoto, I don't necessarily want him to protect Terraskin. I'd like to have all three for the end, so hopefully they can get through this. It's only 5k, but it's 12%, and it's with best climbers in the world all doing their thing. Good night and no. See you later. Otto. We're going to see a lot less than 151 by the end of this one, as steep as it is, and the kind of pace that's being set here. We're down to two riders off the front, and they've already split off from each other. One of them's coming back, so that portion of any danger, any threat has been averted. But of course, these guys are just destroying us. Terraskin, Yamamoto are just hanging on. Yamamoto just hold position here. There's the top. We're almost there. But around that corner, 147 guys. You've got a descent to recover. And yes, okay, so Alpasov's looking good. He, with a +1, has really lucked out. 99% fitness. Now, here's the thing about the race day condition. That -14, that's the expected. We are in a scenario. Oh, and Yamamoto got dropped in this. Really? By himself? We're in a scenario where we have it's kind of an awkward situation, okay? We have a Continental Pro team. The demands for a Continental Pro team are not the same as... Okay, actually, no. Continue forward. Heart rate's low enough that he is actually recovering here. Yamamoto is going to turn into a protection guy here very shortly. But anyway, when you're in Continental, it's expected that you're going to race 30 to 40 days in a year. And therefore, the riders' expectations are rather low. You bump up to Continental Pro, and those expectations rise quite significantly. But the calendar is supposed to come with it, and it didn't. We have had some World Tour races this year, but without any reputation having just come up out of Continental, our sponsor did not secure us very many races at all. And all of those 2HC races, all of those Continental Pro level races, we can't get into any of them. We have no hint of Continental Pro in our calendar other than a few. And those were the ones that the sponsors secured. All of those invites that I requested, denied, 100%. As a result, our top guys, Alpasov, as a great example of that, have just shy of 60 days racing as the season's about to end. Those few riders at the top are content with their 50-plus days of racing. But all those guys with 40-something days of racing, which would have been a lot a year ago, all of those guys with Alpasov, fresh, hanging in there. Taraskin needs to hang in there as best he can. Here comes that first big acceleration and attack, and I'm not responding to any of that. Like I said, there are just way too many guys in that upper 80s. We've got to rely on the fact that there are so many of those that the 5 that attack, there's going to be 6 chasing. For now, though, Alpasov is going backwards in very much not a friendly way. And we're at 59 chasing 4. And Alpasov, the one who should be holding position better, keeps getting caught behind guys that are going a bit slower. Yamamoto's out the back. Down to 46 in this group. And the front has gotten away, but they're still, this is the majority group. Wow. 89 and he can't even keep up. '91, he can't even keep up. This is crazy. This is a tempo we have not seen in this race before. As a group just in front of us, looks like it has split off, and it has. There's 12 riders just ahead of me. Hold on, let's get Taraskin his auto. So 28 right here around Alpasov. He is going to get some recovery on this descent as we head into that final one, but we are very much on the back foot, trying to finish in a decent position. 10K to go. We're going to gel up now. I'm not worried about the sprint. I know we can make contact with these 11. 91, and I'm struggling at the back because we have such a poor flat rating. There we go. Okay. Let's go. Let's go, Alpasov. This is hurting him fast, though. 6K. We are not bridging that gap at the moment. We've certainly moved forward. We've dropped more than half this group, and we're towards the front end of it. 6K to go. Approaching the top, but out of red bar, and not much yellow bar left. And we've got a couple Ineos riders. There goes Rodriguez. We're catching Vlasov. And there's 11 guys up the road, so we are racing for just outside of a top 10 at this point with Alpasov. We don't want to be going 99 with 4K to go. We want to work with Vlasov, but of course Vlasov doesn't want to work with me. He's tired. He's at the end of his ropes. We are getting a little recovery towards the end here. 2K to go now. I've been caught by 4 guys just behind me. Johannesson has already won ahead of Pogacar. Now 1K to go, sprinting for the end. Can we catch anyone? The top 10 is locked up. We just missed the top 10. We will have a top 15 though. That's not going to amount to much. Can we get the throw at the line? No. Neidhart takes us. We get 14th. All things considered, that's not bad. As I was saying, all those guys with 40 to 50 days of riding, which is more than they've ever had in a season before with our team, are devastated by not having enough days for racing. Those that are in the 30 range, which is, the middle portion of the team, it's the end of the world. And so that's why they all have -5s. Can't keep them happy. They've won national championships. They've had top 5s in national championships. They've raced a lot. They've been in World Tour races. Just because of the simple fact that they are 10 days shy of average, they couldn't be bothered to show up and make an effort today, which left Alpasov alone just early enough that what could have been a top 10, I think, with better, well-rounded support across the team, ends up coming up a little short. That's okay. At least our bid for points, in particular Israel, is going really well. Scheckter has picked up yet another stage victory. The stage before this was stage 2. Stage 1 was a prologue, and Lieberman won that. And Scheckter, I think, was up there as well. So they currently sit 1-2 in the standings halfway through Taihu Lake. By the way, the World Championships ended in a win for Ben Askey of the Kuwait Pro Cycling team. So we've got a new player out there that could impact us in a positive way. Govekar, somebody I don't know. I'm assuming that's a new gen, but maybe not. But he rides for Astana, took second. Pedersen took third. Stage 3 is another win for Lieberman, with Locke also up there in the top 4, and Scheckter leading the sprint, the chase group, 25 seconds behind. That was a punchy stage. Right. That does now put Lieberman on top with Ward in second, Scheckter and Locke in third and fourth. Reddy also in the top 10 has us potentially gaining a ton of points as a team. Fourth and final stage is yet another victory for Scheckter, which is enough to bump him up to second place ahead of Ward. So Lieberman wins the overall, Scheckter gets second, Locke is fourth, Reddy is eighth. So we've had 4 stage victories out of 4 stages, and we have 4 riders in the top 10, including a 1-2 overall finish and a top 5 to boot. We have the points classification. There was no KOM. We have the under 25s. All 4 were eligible for that. We, of course, take the team as well. Wow, that is a massive points haul for these guys and for our team. We'll see what that translates into here for the end of the season, but I'm encouraged by it. That I think that could have been that little bit more that we needed, especially for those Israeli guys, to boost the training structure for next season. 2 days later, Scheckter arrives in China at the Tour of Guangxi. And this is the final World Tour race of the year. Of course, it's the lowest profile World Tour race there is. Teams do not send their best riders to this one. They really don't take it seriously. But the points are equivalent to the other lower level World Tour races, and therefore it gives us a better chance. Mikkels was second. We, of course, know Mikkels if you follow my other series. But here we are with a stage win and an early lead in the Tour of Guangxi. Before I sim another stage, here's just to show you what the profile's looking like for our riders. Not as bad as the other races, as some guys were kind of focused in on this one. Schechter on a fitness peak with a +5 race day condition. He's well prepared for it, and that seems to be giving him the edge. We're also looking at least some guys are a bit happier now than what we were seeing with the others, but you know, you're still getting a few guys on that very low in those negatives. Overall as a team, though, it is looking like a net +4, a lot better than the -14 we had at Lombardia. Hector wins again on stage 3, furthering his lead in the overall. Stage 2, he missed the podium. To try to add in a race like the Japan Cup, I had to really go ×8 speed up until just a moment ago. Sneaking in, 3 riders have recently attacked to join the front 10. The peloton's already split up. It is yo-yoing in the back, but at the moment 58. It's been yo-yoing around another 13 riders that are just getting dropped. It looks like they may not regain contact this time. In fact, the peloton is starting to get smaller. Now today, race day conditions are much better, partially because, well, for one, the entire group that is here had the objective. And a lot of them are at 99% fitness levels and came in prepared. Now, a couple of them are still devastated about not having enough race days, and it offsets to where they end up with a -1, -2 kind of expected as the field is splitting once again. And Alpasov on a -3 has been drifting backwards today. He does not have the race day condition, and we're seeing a big attack here with 33 Ks, and we've already missed that. Let's offset that with like Kang. Get to the front. Contribute to the chase. That is a big group going away, and we're still not. Kang's not even going forward, really. Hanging back. Okay. I don't like doing this at 32K, but we don't have much of a choice. We're going to take Kang, Ganai, and isn't. Yeah, no, we'll do Kang first. Gel for him, Alpasov. Lieberman with a +5, which is exactly his expected for the day. Makes him a favorite, absolutely a favorite for this race, but he still didn't even show up on the list. Or at least I missed that. Okay, this is already back together, so we don't need to be going crazy here. But there were still some guys that escaped. We're down to a minute and a half to the very front riders. That original breakaway had 10. Kang, just ease off. We're now setting a tempo that's going to keep things in check, close enough, and keep my guys. We'll get those red bars back. We'll get out there and, yeah, 27K out. We don't want to be too aggressive here. This is the route that I like for this race. Let's get Ganai ready. Kang's not going to last much longer. And he's done. On to Gunai, who gets a good little push towards the top before I turned him down. That kind of split the field a little bit and gave him a bit of an edge out front. Kang, go ahead and get on the back. You have a little something thanks to the descent. 19K to go now, and really only one more lap through. We got 22 chasing 4. Yamamoto and Ganai both run out of energy at the same time. Luckily, Yamamoto did not run out earlier, because I didn't even see that he was almost done. One rider left off the front, 24 in the group, and we're looking at a very different race than what we had a moment ago. We got 3 guys left in contention with that 1 lap to go. We're going to wait until we get to the climb, but we're very much going to put our foot down with these 3 guys and see what we can do to split the field. That's the rider just ahead of us who leads right now, Narvaez. Oof, he's here. It's an awfully good rider. No wonder he's trying to go solo. Luckily, we have some strength today in Locke and Lieberman. Alpasov at least tolerable. He's terrible on the flat, so we're not covering the gap, but that's okay. It's the climb that I'm waiting for anyway, and here comes that climb. So Gel up for Locke, and Alpasov 11K. Put that foot down. He's not a puncher, so his pace is not tremendous here, but it really kind of setting up the second one as we split off half the group and a few guys making their move. Speaking of, One by no threat. Cluckers, Gruel, and Narvaez. Narvaez very punchy, but help us huff. Otto. And we are on to Locke and Lieberman. You can see there's that full gas from everybody who's left. But Lieberman getting let out by Locke. Wow, nobody's gotten dropped here. It's, well, okay, there you go. Now it's down to 8 riders. Down to 8 riders, but there's still 8K to go here. So Locke is leading out Lieberman. Now it's 10 riders. 6K, so let's gel up for Lieberman, and Locke's going to go full gas to take, hopefully, those guys, whatever they had left, take it out of them, because Lieberman's looking strong for the finish. Red bar's gone, but if he makes it difficult on these guys, how are they looking? Well, you have to kind of... The guys at the back, no, they all have something left. Is this your place to attack? These guys are trying to attack because of the little over-the-hill part. And Lieberman does get separation. Now it's a front 2. Oh, but no red bar left. Sprint it out, sprint it out. He's going to get second. Gruel's going to win unless Gruel runs out before the finish line. Or can Lieberman out-sprint him? He's got the edge right now. Lieberman is ahead. And Lieberman is going to get to the line first. Yes, he does. Just ahead of Gruel. Lieberman takes the win. Whew. Alrighty. Locke gets 6th, by the way. I thought that race was going to be a little bit easier, but there was a group this year, handful of riders that just looked really, really strong. There at the end, we put the foot down, and they didn't bat an eyelash. I mean, that was... They were on it. And in the end, in that final move, that final sprint, 2 guys were able to go with. And one of them hung with Lieberman right to the finish line in a photo finish victory. Squeaked it out, but we got the win. Tour of Guangxi still ongoing, final race of the year. Let's continue on with that. There is a single stage at Tour of Guangxi that will impact the overall, and it's this one. Everything else is sprints. So if Scheckter can avoid losing time or only lose mere seconds on a day like this, then he could actually survive and win the overall, which would be a wonderful amount of points and would certainly assure his performance for Israel and their potential progression. So I've spent a lot of the day with Oscar and Chu managing gap to the breakaway, which the initial breakaway had 30 riders in it, including one of mine, but I still had to manage that breakaway. But there was one team that helped out a little bit, so at least we had that. Oscar nearly out of energy now as we approach the base of the climb, but Chu will now take over. We're also going to then set things up for the following guys to keep it going. It's a skinny road, and we are out front. That's a good place to be with 5K to go, and we'll keep pushing. But Scheckter, it's all about hanging on for him as best as possible. Reddy looks like he could win the stage, so that's kind of our alternative. But there's some good riders. There are some good riders. We're down to 3K, so Chu is done. He's just going to keep making his way towards the top as best he can. No is also out of energy. Terskin is also out. Jeez, you guys. So Dai's going to kind of keep pushing for a little bit longer here, allowing the team to close up on him. Down to 2K. We're coming up on a KOM here. Ready. Scheckter still hanging in there. Remember, this is about not losing time, so we're going to get ready towards the front, pulling Scheckter with him to secure that position near the front. Okay, ready. Leading out Scheckter. Scheckter sprinting for the line, and we got one guy going clear. So Reddy's second overall to Battistella. Battistella looks pretty decent and has certainly pulled away. Reddy is attacking the line for a potential second place. But outside of Battistella and his potential time gains, Scheckter is right there, right near the front, and that's going to be good. There's about a 15-second difference there. Scheckter is 23 seconds ahead of the field. He'll gain 10 seconds for the win, maybe 15 seconds in addition to that for a gap, and Scheckter is not losing any substantial time today. Might still be in for a shout for the overall. And Reddy with second certainly puts himself into the mix for a top finish overall as well. So an additional gap was given. Not surprised, but it was awfully close between Storer and Vervecki, but another 11 seconds separating. So 25 seconds down for Scheckter, plus 10 seconds means a 35-second gain for Battistella. It's probably going to put him in the race lead for now, but Scheckter, with a couple stages to go, could re-overtake him to claim the overall, and at the very least, still very likely finish around second place. And Reddy could also be up in those standings as well, as he'll have gained 11 seconds plus 6, so he'll have gained 17 seconds over most of the field. So we could be looking at two guys on the podium, I would think. And there it is. Yeah, two guys on the podium. Scheckter 12 seconds down. It's going to take more than one stage win in those last two. That's a big ask. I think he's got a great chance at winning one of them. I'm not sure he's got a great chance at winning two. But Reddy's up on that podium, and that's good. Teresket also in the top 10. Stage 5, no podium for Scheckter, so no time gains for him today, and that's going to just about rule him out. But did he gain anything in regards... Well, he does enough to hang on here, but yeah, still 12 seconds down, so he did not gain any intermediate sprint points, which meant no time bonuses in there. And Reddy has actually fallen to 4th with Mikkels moving up after... Did he get the stage win? No, he got 2nd. Final stage, not a win, but Scheckter does get 2nd. That'll obviously cement his place as 2nd overall, and it does, just 3 seconds down, which means he actually did manage to gain additional time, because he was 12 back. He gained 6 seconds. Do the math there. There's 3 additional seconds there. There was an intermediate sprint that he won. So had he won the stage, the 4 additional seconds would have been enough. So close. So close. Penhote was also gaining time, so good thing we managed to do well with that. But Reddy slips to 6th place with some sprinters moving up. Tereskin out of the top 10, but 12th is still good. Brandon No, 15th. We do hang on to the points jersey, so there's a bonus. We do get the under 25s, 2nd overall as a team. Somebody leveled up here in the final day or two before the transfer market closed. It's either Dai or Reddy. We're now looking at 77s for Reddy. And we are looking at, I think Dai was already there, 79. So I'm pretty sure it was Kasim Reddy. Biggest move of the transfer market is Vanderpool to Bike Exchange. Oh, no. That's Lotto Sudal that has signed Vanderpool. Arnsman, Carapaz back to Ineos for Carapaz. Vernon, Charmig, Rodriguez to Novak. And with that extra level up, we come actually quite close to making World Tour. That is a surprise. And maybe next year. Maybe. This database keeps getting deeper, though. It gets harder and harder every year. It is so close amongst the teams. But we are very comfortable in Continental Pro for the coming season. And let's hope that our reputation will have risen so that we get a much better calendar for next season. Amazingly, though, 4 Continental Pro teams are moving up into World Tour. ATT, Trek coming back, Equipo Current Pharma, and Intermarché. And then going out, and look how close we are. I mean, wow, we are just like right there. We are now better than 4 stars. It's showing up. That sliver of that final star is beginning to arrive, and we're going to be even stronger next year. as our top guys are not expiring. No losing a Schechter type thing next season. DeMarquis on the way down. Bahrain victorious on the way down. Israel Premier Tech staying in Continental Pro. And just missing out Orbia, which is a new sponsor. We're looking at Spain. So is that Movistar? Yes, Movistar has finally parted ways and a new sponsor is in. And they are out of the World Tour. But also Astana, which that one definitely hurts our larger scheme. But actually it doesn't. We've looked at Astana before with nothing. They have no presence. No, actually, no, that's not true. That is not true. Have they had? Oh gosh, I don't know. I think we have our three mainstays of Asian sponsors, and I know that Astana does. Astana did have Kazakhstani riders, so they are out of World Tour. That's going to hurt the overall scheme of things, and that's also going to hurt our chances with this big changeover of Continental Pro and a number of World Tour teams dropping down. We may not be getting automatic invites to World Tour races, and that means we could be looking at a really weird calendar next year, being a much stronger team and then not having invites to those better races. Let's hope at the very least we do manage to get those HC races in. Thomas Gloag has been the world's best rider this year with Ineos, Pogačar second, Vlasov, Bernal, and Van Aert your top five. Schechter ends up finishing the year, World Tour rankings, 27th. That's pretty impressive. Dye was 64th, but it's not the World Tour rankings that matter, it's the Super Prestige. In the Continental rankings, Schechter also with a strong performance right at the end of the year, ends up all the way up in 13th. It was Ben Askey who dominated the Continental rankings this year and, of course, won the World Championships. But the Super Prestige is the one that matters, as Schechter is 10th place in the Super Prestige, moving up 20 spots for Schechter. That has got to be a lock for Israel to have a boost in their training structure. Now, I've had some comments regarding leaving Israel out if I were to do Asia again. But here's the thing. Israel begins in this database with a training structure of 2 and a popularity of 4. It is very, very much on the bottom end of the grand scheme of things. Now, on my rankings, on my list, that's still up there. It's not at the bottom, but overall world, it is. It's very much at the low end. Japan has a 2.8. I've lucked out and found a couple of guys and really, really made some progress with Israel already. Yet it's still a 2.4. Right now, Israel is a 2.4. So we haven't changed anything yet. But it's clear that that's coming. Finishing in 40th place, Dai has a pretty dang good chance to also boost Taiwan in a second way. He's already added a +2 to their popularity. Coming in at a 2, I would think 40th is enough to push that training to a 3 for Taiwan. Lieberman may have done enough himself to also boost Israel. Will the combination of both guys being in the top 50 give them a +2 to their training structure? I would love to see that happen. And Locke may have done enough as well. Inside the top 100 in 85th place, the Mongolian rider. Mongolia's a 3-3. So with a 3 for training structure, is 85th enough to make it a 4? It might be, but I'm not sure. He may need to finish a bit higher than that. Reddy moves up a lot right here at the end of the season with a strong performance, but 141st for Kuwait may not be enough. Our best chance, though, is the fact that Kuwait is a 1-3 with a training structure of 1. A top 150 actually may do it, may be enough to make it a training structure of 2. Finally, as a team, we finished 14th in the World Tour. We jumped to 7th in the end for Continental, as we had those couple HC races at the end that finally amounted to something. We were actually the highest Continental Pro ranked team. But in the Super Prestige, the one that matters. Are you kidding me? I didn't expect this. We are number one. Number one for any team that's going to be Continental Pro next year. Those top 6 ahead of us are all World Tour teams now and next year, and we have jumped to 7th? 7th in the Super Prestige rankings. Okay, well, we are going to have those guaranteed bonuses for next year, and this means we're going to also have invitations almost across the board. Any race we want to go to, we're going to have a World Tour calendar next year. Oh man, that's going to lead to better morale. We're going to have to manage the fatigue side of things, but we're going to have some racers happy all the way to the end of the season, and possibly dead from exhaustion, as we're going to go the opposite direction and have guys racing 100 days next year, I would think. And that's going to lead to a lot more points. We've done this on a limited calendar. What's going to happen when we have a healthy calendar? Well, a lot of quick sims, so actually maybe not a whole lot. And we are on to our U23 draft. It's been highly requested that I do show you this one. For me, the U23 draft is not a big deal. And here's why. None of these riders end up making my team. If they're good enough to make my team, I'm going to sign them early and develop them in-house. But what these riders are, these are that next tier. These are guys that can ultimately be the rider who, on the team that they end up on, gets that win and boosts the popularity for their nation. Or is that one guy who had a really good continental season and won a bunch of races and ends up boosting that tiny nation from a 1 to a 2 in training structure at the end of the year. So these are guys that can be useful, can help us, but at the same time, they only have so much use. I never end up signing them for the senior team, but they are about securing their position in the database and moving them on to other teams. And you can see from last year's group, where I had 10, I'm going to be down to 9 the next year to save some money, but most of them have already found a home with continental teams. We have 7 of these guys moving on to continental teams. You can see one of them, another Kuwaiti, UAE rider, that is, Iqbal, looks pretty decent in his ratings. The East Timor rider of Aguilera has also picked up a home as a decent time trialist and classics rider. So there's some okay options here, and these are guys still with a decent amount of potential in terms of growth. Now, as for me, though, these 2, nope, we will not be re-signing them. This one's looking a decent option, still has some potential for growth. Joel Briones of the Philippines, my wife's home nation, where I was just on vacation, actually, but doesn't look great. But we'll go ahead and retain him as our first option, help him develop a little bit more, and hope that he picks up that contract next year. And that leaves me with 8 slots to fill. This year, scouting has worked out for us to find a couple better options, and of course, no surprise that the top one in the database, in fact, 4 of the top 5 guys here are all from Kazakhstan. One of them a Filipino. That's awesome. He's already got Go for Gold Philippines, which while I was there, I saw a few Go for Gold Philippines riders, or at least people that have their jerseys riding when I was near the 100 Islands area. Good tourist spot, great cycling spot. There was a lot of cyclists in the area, and like I said, I saw a few with their Go for Gold Philippines jerseys on, and yeah, that's a good signing for them. He's already been picked up by them, and that's fantastic. But let's see if we can add these guys in. We'll take those first few that have the best potential. potentially, as we've only locked in actually one of those. One of those riders, and unfortunately, well, not so unfortunately, I suppose, but one of those, the best of them, has opted for Astana, the Astana development team. Another decent Kazakhstani option, the next one, last 4-star guy that we have scouted. So I'm going to go on to the free riders, and you see there's plenty of potential here. But herein lies our problem of, well, they're not Asian riders. So finding one down the list that is, and is good enough, becomes, well, rather tricky. I've had to go down the list quite a ways, but we're still in the 4-star potential territory, and actually pretty decent quality already. At 20, I think he's pretty much a lock, but this will at least guarantee that the UAE rider can find a home eventually. I've also managed to find 2 riders in India, so we'll get one of them in, and that puts us up to 6 now. We have 3 more to sign. It's an odd choice, but a 3.5, already a 74 mountain Sri Lankan rider will be, oh, that's 2. I still have 1 more to go find. I'm going to get back over onto the rider scouted side. Kind of take a stab in the dark on one of these guys that's here. We got a 3.5. That might be a good option for us. And that'll do it. That'll fill out the team for the coming year. Even though we only have 2 riders going out and 2 riders coming in, we are looking at really big changes for the coming year. One, it looks like our profile in Continental Pro and our rankings from this year is going to lead to a lot of World Tour races. We're going to have a much busier calendar. I would suspect that our reputation has improved, and we're going to have a lot more invites in the first place. But without Scheckter, our sprint is definitely going to be weaker, but he's going to go on to a new home, big team, and he's going to do good things, and he's done really good things for us this year, as I think it's inevitable that we're going to see big gains here on the 1st of January regarding Israel's profile within the database. We also lose Brandon No. The 2 guys coming in are not as good. However, we have some really high potential with both of them, the pair of them. Serenkaya, Musabekov are going to be big-time riders for us, and Serenkaya in particular, as a Turkish rider, is a wonderful opportunity for us to really get the ball rolling in another nation that sits as actually a 3-4, but we had seen nothing in the database until him that suggests we're well set. Lieberman, of course, has also just leveled up, so our potential, our growth with Israel can continue into the next season. Alpasov is looking pretty good. Dai is going to become the man for the sprints now, and that means Taiwan has a great chance to get boosted, and he may have done enough already this year anyway. Reddy has continued to get better. Locke has continued to get better. Oscar, okay, we have had a Turkish rider, but it's been Oscar all this time, and he's down to the final year of his contract, his final year with the team before we let him go, and obviously, hand that baton off to Serenkaya to lead the Turkish group. But there's Gunai as well, so actually we have found a couple of guys. They just haven't quite gotten there yet. I'm excited by the season to come and the changes it's going to bring, but of course now streamlined, it's going to be a different prospect going forward on how we handle it and when and where we see gains in the future. This looks like it has been a really, really good season, and this could be by far the biggest gains that we have seen and made, and that was all because we finally made Continental Pro. Now as a permanent Continental Pro team going forward, and maybe even flirting with World Tour status in the future, we can continue to make things happen and see this database grow. So far, the experiment, obviously far from complete, has netted positive results. I think it's going in the right direction, and this is year 6. I think year 7 could bring even more. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.